The wind was cold that morning, brushing gently against the worn pages of a sketchbook lying open on a small street corner. A frail girl sat beside it, her head wrapped in a faded scarf, her hands trembling as she held up a painting of a sunset. Her voice, though soft, carried a heartbreaking plea. "Original art for sale, please, help me continue my treatment." Her name was Lily Carter, only 19, yet her eyes held the exhaustion of someone who had fought too many silent battles. She had been diagnosed with leukemia 6 months earlier, and with her mother gone and no father in her life, she depended on selling her artwork to afford her chemotherapy sessions. Each brushstroke was a cry for survival, each painting, a prayer for one more tomorrow. People passed by, glancing with pity but rarely stopping. The world moved too fast for those who suffered in silence. Across the street, Ethan Miller, a 32-year-old single dad, was walking his 7-year-old son, Ben, to school. Ethan had seen struggles too. After losing his wife in a car accident, he had spent years trying to rebuild a life for his son while working 2 jobs. Life had taught him that pain doesn't always announce itself, sometimes it just sits quietly, holding a paintbrush. As Ben tugged on his hand and pointed, Ethan noticed Lily. Her face was pale, her lips dry, but her paintings were breathtaking, vivid skies, blooming fields, and portraits filled with hope. It didn't make sense that someone battling death could still paint life so beautifully. He walked closer. "Hey," he said gently. "These are incredible. Did you paint all these?" Lily smiled weakly, brushing hair from her face. "Yes, sir. I paint between treatments. It helps me forget the pain. I'm trying to save enough for my next chemo session." Ethan's throat tightened. He saw the courage in her eyes, the same courage his late wife had when she was sick. He bought one painting. Then another. Then another. When Lily tried to stop him, he smiled softly. "You don't get to argue with a dad who knows what it means to fight for someone you love." He handed her an envelope quietly before walking away with his son. When Lily opened it, her trembling fingers froze. Inside was a check enough to pay for her full round of chemotherapy. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she whispered, "Why would he do this for me?" A week later, she found out. She had searched the name Ethan Miller and discovered that he worked as a mechanic in a small garage across town. She went there to return his money, but Ethan refused. "I didn't do it for thanks," he said. "You remind me of someone I loved. She didn't make it, but if I can help you keep fighting, that's enough for me." Lily insisted on repaying him in her own way. Every weekend, she started visiting the garage, bringing her sketchbook and painting scenes of the place, Ethan fixing cars, Ben playing in the corner. Over time, she became part of their small world. To his surprise, her office door was open. She looked fresh, professional again, as if last night had never happened. But when their eyes met, she gestured for him to come in. "Ethan," she said quietly, "thank you for last night. I owe you an apology, and probably more than that." He shook his head. "You don't owe me anything, ma'am. I just wanted to make sure you were safe." Her expression softened. "Still, I said some things I meant, even if I shouldn't have said them then. You're a good man, and a good father. I've been thinking about that a lot today." Ethan shifted awkwardly. "Just trying my best." "I know," she said. "And I also know how hard it is when you're doing it alone." He looked up, surprised. Claire continued, her voice gentler now. "My father raised me by himself. I used to think success was about being the best. But lately, I think I lost sight of what really matters." For a moment, there was silence. Two people, so different, yet both broken in quiet ways, seeing a reflection of each other. Then Claire took a breath. "Ethan, I want to make a proposal. There's a new opening in management. You've been doing the work of 3 people for months without complaint. You deserve better." His mouth fell open. "Are you serious?" She smiled. "Completely. And this isn't charity. It's recognition." Weeks passed, and Ethan's life began to change. The promotion meant he could finally afford better childcare for Lily and start saving again. More importantly, It gave him a sense of pride he hadn't felt since before his wife passed away 3 years ago. Claire, too, began changing. She started leaving the office earlier, volunteering at the children's hospital on weekends. Sometimes she'd stop by Ethan's desk just to ask about Lily. Slowly, a friendship bloomed, unexpected but deeply genuine. One Friday evening, as they both packed up, Claire said softly, "You know, that night you drove me home. I thought my world was falling apart. But maybe it was just falling into place." Ethan smiled. "Funny, I was thinking the same thing." Months later, at the company's annual gala, things looked very different. Ethan was now a confident manager, and Claire, though still his boss, felt more like a mentor and friend. When she took the stage to speak, she looked out over the crowd and said, "Sometimes, the people who change our lives the most aren't the ones above us, but the ones beside us, who show us grace when we least deserve it." Her eyes met Ethan's across the room. And in that moment, everyone clapped, unaware of the quiet story between them, the night a single dad drove his drunk boss home and reminded her, and maybe himself, what kindness truly means. Because sometimes, the smallest act of decency can rewrite two broken lives.